Willkommen zurück zum letzten Vortrag in diesem Track. Nochmal willkommen an alle im Saal und alle, die uns online zuschauen. Und in unserem nächsten Vortrag geht es um Gaia-X. Gaia-X ist eine Initiative, die vor 2 Jahren ins Leben gerufen wurde, um zu gucken, welche Voraussetzungen hat eine europäische Dateninfrastruktur, also eine Cloud, wenn man so will. Und hier wird uns Frau Dr. Maria Barros Weiss erzählen, wie der Stand dieses Projektes ist und was sich für Unternehmen dort für Vorteile ergeben. Sie wird das auf Englisch tun. Die Fragerunde machen wir danach und ich werde die Fragen aus dem Publikum laut vortragen, damit sie auch unsere Online-Zuhörer hören, und ich werde diese Fragen auch nach bestem Wissen und Gewissen ins Englische übersetzen. Oder wenn Sie die auf Englisch direkt stellen, dann natürlich auch ins Deutsche. Dann, ja.
Thank you. Welcome everyone. Thank you for being here in this last session. Last but not least, I am here presenting the reality of Gaia-X, and the presentation will focus in 3 main points. That is, what is Gaia-X? What can Gaia-X bring to enterprises, to Unternehmen? And where does the project stand? When can we expect that Gaia-X starts becoming reality in our business solutions? So the Gaia-X is an initiative, like was here said, that starts 2 years ago. Initiative led by Germany, but started as a Franco-German initiative, so already international, and that now gathers more than, at least 15 countries. So international initiative, European, and all the countries involved have what is called a Gaia-X hub, where they put together the stakeholders in their countries, the industry involved in their countries, in this European, pan-European initiative that's supposed to bring data spaces to business, to digital ecosystems that are in our days, like we saw today in the several presentations, digital ecosystems, hybrid, multi-cloud solutions are the new normal, and therefore we need a solution for the data spaces. Data is nowadays very important, but so important as data is how we handle it, is data sovereignty, is how we respect data ownership, data privacy, and how we can make all these solutions and all these Unternehmen, these companies, trust in these solutions and trust that their data will be respected and their ownership on this data will be kept. So the importance of having an open data space like Gaia-X, an open framework that solves the data space like Gaia-X in our days, it's mainly important when with the digital transformation we are going for end-to-end solutions from the users to the devices as well, to the edge, to the things, and more data, different kind of data, and data coming from different places come together in cognitive solutions that are based in AI models from data provided by multi-tenants. What is Gaia-X then bringing to Unternehmen? Gaia-X intends to provide an open framework based on open source that all technology providers can make themselves compliant with the technology that will bring data interoperability, that will bring trust, that in the end trust is the most important thing to bring to these digital solutions, to bring these digital solutions to the market. Because if we don't trust these systems, if we don't trust that these autonomous solutions will operate as it is supposed, and if we don't trust that the liabilities are in place, we don't manage to bring. We can have all the technologies, but we don't bring these technologies to business, to the markets, right? And one important thing here is not only in terms of technologies, because we have been seeing today the technology is already there. in many respects, but also the regulations and the standardization. So Gaia-X is not only looking to the level of technology, but also looking to the level of regulations, having the regulations in place that we can work on the liabilities, work on the trust needed to put these systems that are multi-party systems in the market, and in standardization, to be sure that when if Gaia-X comes to the market, the providers can claim themselves Gaia-X compliant. It's everything about conformity. For this, Gaia-X offers technology, so as different working streams working in particular aspects of technology, but works also in standardizations, works also in governance, and works also in regulations. Where does it stand? Where does the project stand? Because many times we hear, okay, but Gaia-X in the end, we have specifications out there. We are working on having the services already offered as open source. But where are we in putting this in the market? So this is an initiative that is a public-private initiative. It's an initiative led not only by industry, but also by governments, the governments of different countries, and the governments themselves are also investing, so there is private investment, there is also public investment. In Germany, for instance, and Germany has been the leader of this initiative, BMW has already funded several programs towards Gaia-X, one of the latest being a program to validate Gaia-X architecture in different sectors for different data spaces. And in this big program, big call, 11 projects, consortium projects were funded, and 6 of these projects shows IONOS Cloud as the cloud provider. Why? IONOS is one of the main European cloud providers. We have more than 12 data centers. We have more than 100,000 physical servers available. We are also known and recognized as a trust partner as cloud, but also as hosting, for hosting cloud, for hosting websites, mailing. Therefore, and we are part of a big group, United Internet, that is cloud provider, as cloud infrastructure, but as also communications infrastructure. And in the end, all these solutions need to go to the edge, and going to the edge involve also communication network, communication part. From these 6 projects where IONOS was chosen to be the cloud provider, most of them are multi-cloud solutions. So we are not talking here, Gaia-X is a cloud European federated cloud alternative to the hyperscalers, but doesn't mean that going Gaia-X, the enterprises need to choose one cloud provider and stick to one cloud provider only. In the end, Gaia-X is preparing the providers to offer in a federated way their clouds, and allows the companies and the solutions to have solutions in multi-cloud. You decide. The big advantage is that in our days AI is very important for the data solutions, and what Gaia-X brings is that you don't need to bring anymore the data to a centralized cloud, but you can work with the data provided by different clouds, including your own cloud, right? So it creates interoperability, it creates trust, it creates connection, and it creates a multi-cloud space. The 6 projects where IONOS is involved will intend to validate Gaia-X architecture in different sectors. One of them is, the list is here, one is HealthX, that provides a data space for health and intends to create different services via different use cases, health services for the citizens. The second one, Marispace, works on the maritime geospace and intends to to use Internet of underwater things in order to decarbonize the sea, in order to to work with the diminution of the sea, in order to provide solutions towards the environment. Merlot works yet in another sector, in another data space, that is for education, and intends to create data rooms for education and also an education wallet. So students being able to have different contents, also with AI models, different contents tailored to what is to their passes. And then Possible works with the public sector services, so intends to give to the citizens public services via the share of different public data spaces. And then we have two other projects that are not specific to vertical sectors, but are also very important because it intends to help operate Gaia-X in these digital ecosystems. One being OpenGPT, and the session here before was exactly about assisted voice solutions and language technology solutions. And OpenGPT is exactly working on creating speech models based on large databases via using Gaia-X compliant architectures. And Telos works at the level of the network, creating a layer that allows to make interoperable the different networks of clouds. These are 6 of 11 projects. Other projects will follow that intend to validate Gaia-X framework, Gaia-X architecture towards vertical sectors. There are other ongoing initiatives, more at the level of creating the services needed for the different solutions. These are the federated services. And there are also initiatives ongoing, projects ongoing, that are at this moment implementing these federated services in open source. Then it is intended or expected that in the second quarter of next year, this service start being available for everyone via open source offers. IONOS, being day one member of Gaia-X, is in a very good position is positioning itself to be one of the cloud providers that will be Gaia-X compliant and positioning itself to offer these solutions to our customers. We believe in Gaia-X direction. We have been active collaborating and participating in this direction. We are active in different working groups. We are also co-sharing the architecture work stream. And it is our belief that Gaia-X is providing the framework that is needed in order for the European providers be able to compete what are the hyperscalers in our days, that is the US hyperscalers, the Chinese hyperscalers. Our experience puts us also in a very good position because we are a trust and recognized partner for many solutions that are in the market, mainly provided by Kleine Unternehmen, by SMEs. For SMEs, it's not always easy to be aware and to be prepared for these new technologies. And partnering with a partner that is ready to offer the technology that is Gaia-X compliant, that is ready for these solutions of the future, helps also the Unternehmen to partner with a partner that will allow them to use data from different data spaces, to train AI models and to offer AI solutions with compliance, Gaia-X compliance, GDPR compliance, and the interoperability needed for them not to be needing to migrate to other clouds, but just using the clouds that they have been using. So in the end, in the end, what does this bring? So where are we standing in offering to Unternehmen this Gaia-X world? So Gaia-X is at the moment a public-private initiative. It is being now conceptualized, but it is ready to be deployed in many countries. It is not only being pushed by German government or the member states that are in the initiative governments, but also by the European Commission. So the European Commission, in its new program for research and innovation, has been writing down in the program Gaia-X in different calls. So they expect Gaia-X to become part of the solution for the European economy recovery, for the European data sovereignty, for solution, and for including for all the solutions that we know that are in the market based in AI, in order for a green recovery, for green solutions, for supporting the reduction of the carbon footprints. So, vielen Dank. Thank you very much. I'm open for questions.
Thank you very much. Da kommt schon direkt die erste Frage, bitte.
Is everyone fine for talking English? So the point is, I mean, you said the group intends to do not only the infrastructure, which come from local partners, I understand, but also services, which are the same across the whole infrastructure of Gaia-X. So what's the current, the work status of working on? I mean, if we look at clouds, what's always interesting is to have services that help you consume infrastructure. So what's the technical status of those services that you need to work in Gaia-X?
So
I will rephrase and then translate for our online viewers. What is the current status of the services working in Gaia-X? Und auf Deutsch, wie ist der aktuelle Status der verschiedenen Services in Gaia-X?
So Gaia-X is about the framework, right? An open source framework. And the services that Gaia-X is implementing are federated services that allow to the providers, the technology providers, to offer their solutions compliant with this framework, and this framework allowing them to be trusted, to be interoperable with other providers, and to respect data sovereignty. The federated services specifically are in this moment, so this is all online via Gaiax.eu website, and the federated services, there are different calls for each of the individual federated services. So for consortium or partners to propose to implement these services via open source code, and this open source will be available for everyone. Anyway, the specifications are out there, and partners can prepare themselves, but it is expected that next year these services start being published.
Bitte?
I have a question regarding the structure of the project itself. Well, as far as I understand and I read, it is like not building the street that is already done by IONOS. It is not about the rules that is done with the government. It's like choosing the colors of the signs and giving free to choose to make signs. So my question is there really a business accelerator behind that, while all American cloud providers already give complete full services, the street with sign, and you can drive without regulations?
Okay, that's not going to be easy.
You say it.
Yeah, I have to say it. The question is, what's the business motivation behind it when a lot of stuff is done by IONOS and hyperscalers like Amazon or Google are already providing lots of services? Auf Deutsch. Was ist die Geschäftsmotivation dahinter? Was ist der Antrieb, wenn doch wenn Google und Amazon doch schon diese Services von Haus aus anbieten? Ich hoffe, ich habe es ansatzweise vernünftig wiedergegeben.
So trying to be focused. First, the hyperscalers. We have in Europe we have legislation that not all the hyperscalers are compliant with, right? And the idea is to offer an European alternative that is compliant with European rules, like GDPR, and that allows different providers to work together in a federated way to create an alternative. But this doesn't mean this alternative in the end. The pillars of Gaia-X is to allow interoperability, to allow trust in how the data will be handled, to allow multi-tenant, multi-provision of data and also of technology solutions. So in the end, it's a framework, right? A framework that if the technology provider makes compliant to this framework, conform to this framework, will give the trust to the users that there is trust, that there is data ownership respect, that there is sovereignty. Like you said, the technologies are there. What the Gaia-X architecture is the architecture of a framework in order to make different providers, technologies from different providers to operate. Did I answer the question?
I'm still not convinced. I also follow up this with the VDA or with the VDMA, and I have some doubts about the completeness of the approach. If it's really sufficient in a competition to what is already existing.
The participant still has doubts if Gaia-X is sufficient towards the competition. Did I get this right? Also der Teilnehmer hat immer noch Zweifel daran, ob das wirklich passt.
So here, the way I will answer is important to come to the start here is that we are IONOS cloud, and we believe in that Gaia-X direction will bring the solution, or at least will put us towards preparing towards the solution, because in our days all the solutions end up being multi-cloud, hybrid cloud, to the edge, working with different nodes, and we believe that Gaia-X framework is the framework in order to make these nodes, when operating together, to offer these pillars: trust, interoperability. But here I'm IONOS, right? IONOS believes and is working towards this direction.
Bitte?
If I may, you said, okay, Gaia-X is about technical services, understood, it's a framework,
Mm-hmm.
but you said it's also about regulations and governance to which you can show your compliance. For me, this sounds like we have a new set of regulations and norms on the road to which, or towards which you can be audited and certified. Is that true?
So,
The question is if Gaia-X is okay.
Frage ist,
Ja, bitte nochmal auf Deutsch.
wir haben ganz viele Normen und Standards heute
Mhm.
schon. Und für mich klingt das so, als wäre das auch eine neue Norm, gegenüber der man sich in Zukunft zertifizieren lassen kann. So klingt es für mich auf dieser normativen und regulatorischen Seite. Das ist auch so.
Die Frage ist, ob Gaia-X einfach eine Möglichkeit ist, sich gegenüber neuen Normen zertifizieren zu lassen. The question is if Gaia-X is a way to be certifiable against new and emerging norms and
if there will
regulations.
be a stamp that makes this is Gaia-X compliant. There is a working group that works with standardization. There are different partners that are open source associations, standardization bodies involved in this work. And this is work under progress. But the idea is that by now it's concepts, and it is assumed by the association that by now no partner can claim to be compliant, because it is so the things are being implemented, the technologies are being implemented, but this working group is exactly working towards how we will prove this compliance.
just following up your question or your answer. When do you plan to take up like commercial services? As I understand, it's today still like development project. But when do you start commercial maturity services or commercially mature services?
When will Gaia-X reach a state of maturity to go commercial? Wann wird Gaia-X so weit sein, dass es kommerziell verfügbar ist?
I will rephrase your interpretation of the question because the question is you, and you is IONOS. IONOS as member of Gaia-X and Gaia-X Association and the active participant also in the work ongoing and also involved, like we saw here, in different of the projects that are validating the technology, validating the framework in different sectors. I can tell you that we are making ourselves ready in many aspects. We have already the technology. No one can complain, can say that is compliant because it is decided that this should not be the case. No one should say they are compliant. But this work are research, development and innovation projects with the different stakeholders needed in the sectors, like we have here, for instance, LSEX being led by Charité Berlin, or Marispace being led by True Ocean, or Merlo by EMC. So we have the right stakeholders in the sectors to allow us to understand, and as IONOS Cloud as one of the cloud providers in the consortium, and the other technology partners in the consortium, to understand if we are if we are addressing the requirements of these sectors. And with that, also the architecture will be developed according to the different technical and functional requirements of the different sectors. So with these projects, and these are projects starting, most of them in the end of the year, but until the January, for instance, Marispace, from these 6 projects, the latest starting is Marispace in January, and they are all projects of 36 months. In the end of the project, it is supposed that the projects have demonstrations with pilots at almost real environments, but the commercial solutions will be ready to come just afterwards.
Weitere Fragen? Die Online-Teilnehmer haben auch keine Fragen. Dann sage ich nochmals, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.